Okay, I'm going to try and get my camera as close as I can on here so you can see what I'm doing without shaking the camera. Okay, let's see if I can see. Okay, so here I am. I'm going to sew a zigzag all the way around here. You're not too worried about the length of your stitch, but you are worried about the width, because once you sew on here, you're going to want to cover all that stitching with your 1/4" bias tape. So let me see how that works. I need to move my camera a little bit. I gotta get used to this new place here in the sewing. Okay, so I'm going to just go, it doesn't matter where you start, just take your sewing machine. You don't even have to start at the edge, you can start at the end or start in the middle. So what I'm doing is I'm lining up that piece of paper, the freezer paper, against the other side, so when I zigzag, I'm going to be zigzagging right next to it, but not on the paper itself. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so go past your diamond, turn your machine, and then just come back the other way. Okay, turn again, bring it around. Okay, just come back and pick up what you didn't sew the first time. And you don't have to be really particular about it, because you're not going to even see these stitches. Okay, so let's cut that off. Cut your strings off. Okay, do you see what I've got there? Okay, so I've zigzagged all the way around. I'm going to pull my paper off and take my pins out, and now I'm going to cut. You can cut from either side, it doesn't matter, whatever you can see the easiest, and then just cut right up to that line of sewing. Okay, here's that line of sewing. I'm just going to cut to that line of sewing. Okay, and there we go. And that is my first side of, that's the first side of the bra. Okay, I'm going to do the other one, and then I'm going to come back and then we'll do the bias tape. Okay, I got my diamonds cut. Measure them up next to each other and make sure they're exactly the same size, because you want your bra to be the same size. And this is the point where you can decide, I didn't center them exactly, but I'm still going to use these two. So now you decide which you want to be right and which one you want to be left. It's up to you. It doesn't matter. It could go either way. I like this look the best. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 1/4" double fold bias tape, and I'm going to sew up. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it on here, and then I'm going to sew that on one side of the part of the bra. See what I'm doing? I'm just going to set this here and I'm going to sew it. I'm going to sew it with the factory setting zigzag stitch. The reason I'm doing a zigzag instead of a straight stitch is because if I don't catch this other side, I have a better chance of catching this side if I use a zigzag. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm using a little extra so I can get it through the machine easier. So let's see where you're at. Okay, so I got my factory setting on my zigzag. I'm going to put this down on my machine, and I'm going to just zigzag it up. So you can pin it down if you need to, but you really don't have to because of the way this double folded bias tape is. It's easy to work with. Okay. The only problem you might have is I didn't give myself enough of a tail, so you might have to push it through until you can get it started. So give yourself more of a tail than I did, and you'll have much easier time. Okay, so let me do that. Okay, you don't have to backstitch on here because you're going to end up cutting that anyway because you're going to cut it into the diamond shape. So go ahead and take that and cut it in the diamond, and then cut the bottom here in the diamond. So give yourself a little extra tail and you'll have an easier time getting it through. Okay, do you see that? Okay, let me do the other one with a little extra tail so you know what I mean. Okay, so here is this side. I've got it on the left side, so this one I'm going to do on the right side. So let me cut some of this off. Okay, so this way I'm going to start here. A lot of the times on this bias tape, one side might be folded different than the other, so always put the prettiest side on the front, and it'll look a lot nicer. Okay, so here I've got myself a much better tail. So let me go ahead and start this side. See, with that tail, I didn't have to fight to get it through. It just fed through because my feed dogs were able to pick up that piece of bias tape. Cut that. Okay, can you see that? Okay, so now we're going to trim that. And we're going to trim this one. Okay. Now we've got the... That's too much. Okay, so now we've got both of our sides done on the brow. Okay, let me see if you can see that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 4 1/4 inch strip and I'm going to sew straight up this way. Okay, and the reason I'm doing that is, let me go get the bra and I'll show you. Okay, I tried to move my camera around so you can get a better view. Okay, I don't know what I was thinking. That 4 1/4 was a different bra altogether. So let's show you what's coming up next. Right now we've done this, we've done our side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add this strap, go all the way around. So I just measured this, and for the Journey girls, it might be different for the American girls. You're going to need about 7.5 inches. So take your, you can always subtract, but you can't add. So give yourself a little leeway. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut 2 of these about 8 inches for my straps. Okay. So can you see that? I got the 7 inches. Let me see where you're at on the okay, I'm almost out of bobbin thread, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. So here I'm going to take my see how it folds and there's one side a little bit wider than the other. Put the wide part on the front and you'll have it'll look nicer then. I didn't do it on this one, and see how when I put the straps on I've got that little bit of a a fold here that you see. I mean, it makes the bra look more realistic, but I did it on this side with it in the back and this side and in the front, and I think it looks better if it would be the same on both sides, but you know, you just have to work with what you got. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take this and I'm going to tuck it in, give myself a little bit of tail in the front so it feeds through my machine okay. And let me see what you're looking at. Okay, very good. Alright, let's get started. So let's just set this on the machine, tuck it in. Same zigzag stitch, your factory setting zigzag. And get that tucked in. And let's start sewing. You can always baste this in if you don't feel comfortable just sewing it, or you can even pin it if you want to. But these squares, these triangles, they just fit right in these, I wonder if you can see, they just fit right in the edging, I mean right in the, I don't know what you call it, the fold. Okay, you're not going to stop here. You're going to keep going all the way across to the end of the bias tape. Bias tape is stretchable, so don't stretch when you're sewing, okay? This one's not too stretchable, so it's okay. Just zigzag across. Okay, so we've got one side, so let's go ahead and cut this off. Just line it up with your triangle, cut it off, and we now have one side of the bra strap done. Okay, I'm going to do the other one, and then I'll come back and tell you the next step. Okay, so here we are. I've got my two sides completed, right and left. I've zigzagged all the way across. Now we're going to put the 1/4 inch binding away, and we're going to get out the 1/2 inch double fold bias tape. And we're at this point right now where we're going to sew in our bottom piece. We're switching away from the zigzag stitch now, and we're going to a regular straight stitch. What you want to do is you want this to be big enough to go around the doll, all the way around the doll from front to back, and then you're going to want to add your turn unders, which in my case was probably I don't know, maybe 1.25 inches, and then a little bit for elastic, because you're going to have to be able to get the elastic on and get it. You don't have to make as big a fold as I did here. You know, it all depends on what you want to do. But I did it this way because then you get a nice even flat finish in the back. So anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and measure. And I believe I did about 12.5 inches. So let's go ahead and pull that out and see what we got here. You can just measure your doll if it's easier. Okay, so at that point I've got about 10.5, and then I'm going to add my turn unders. So I'm going to 10.5, 11.5. I'm going to go 12 inches. So let's go ahead and take your I'm going to give myself a 1/2 inch extra just in case I need some more, just to be on the safe side. So cut yourself a piece of your double fold. Take it and fold it in half. and then mark your half point. Okay, and this is where we're going to insert our pieces and sew them down. Let me see how the camera looks. Can you see there from there? Okay. So take your pieces, set them in, and figure out where you want them. Just put a little pin. You can pin this now. So there's one. So we're going to do the other side, and we're going to just put that in there and pin it down. And then you're going to decide at this point how much of an overlap you want. I did this one the other way, so it doesn't matter. You can go either way, whatever you think looks the cutest. Or you can even spread them out a little bit so you don't have much of an overlap at all. So make sure that when you do this part that you get that bra all the way to the bottom of the fold. Okay. And the reason why we're not doing a zigzag on here is because we are going to insert our elastic through here. So I don't know what my bra strap placement's going to be right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over about an inch, sew here all the way across to about an inch, and then I'm going to stop there. So let me do that. And the reason I'm doing that is so I can put this on the doll without these needles or these pins in the way. So I'm just going to do a straight stitch. I'm going to sew this like I'm going to be able to insert my elastic casing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew right along this edge here. Okay, so an inch out from that first side. Okay, so let's just sew across. Uh-oh, something happened to my... I think I'm going to have to do this over again. Okay, I'm going to put a new bobbin in, so I'll be right back. It's going to start jamming on me because it's too little. Okay, hold on.